Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
Check out the podcast below in the description.
All right, John, we are rolling towards a huge...
You can find a smart aleck bus driver in Kansas City who made some snide comments when we got on the bus. Maybe that's why we drove around the stadium, just to tick him off. This is ridiculous. Next question.
Yeah, I appreciate about Gruden. He goes next question after answering the question and actually giving some good insight. We are rolling towards a big Raiders-Chiefs game here.
Yeah, who would have thought? I mean, the Raiders have handled business since that game. That they have really the only game they dropped right is Tampa. Being at 6-3, right in a position. I kept saying the Ravens are locked to be the 5 seed. That's, I think, pretty wide open now. They're in shambles. We have a group of all these teams at 6-3. Hell, the Raiders are in position. Probably not to win the division. The Chiefs are 8-0, but definitely to get the 5 seed now.
No, the Chiefs are 8-1. The Raiders beat them. I mean, the Raiders.
Excuse me. Did I say 8-0? 8-1. Yeah. But even if you beat them, they still got to win on you
for sure.
Or I mean, they still have a game in the last couple.
They'd be 8-2, and you'd be 7-3. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's going to be pretty difficult. But this win would be validating to the Gruden era. To everything that they did, the trading of Khalil Mack, like it would all starting to become into fruition, which would be crazy because I think even Raider fans like our defense isn't very good. So you to beat the Chiefs twice with a bad defense, and the second time coming off a bye, we've heard the number a million times. Andy Reid 77-1 coming off byes in his NFL career.
18-3.
18. He just doesn't lose, and this one coming off a bye, playing a team that beat him earlier in the year, which just statistically, I'd imagine of his 21 games, it probably hadn't happened that many times because it would have to be a divisional opponent and it would had to have been set up perfectly in the schedule. Maybe it happened once in his career, but you feel like it definitely, Gruden's kind of fired up, and I watched a little bit of Andy's press conference. He's not really that up and down of a guy. Like Gruden is much more boisterous and just aggressive, and you just kind of comes into this game pissed off of like, it's a big fucking deal. I mean, Raiders, Chiefs, to people in that world, and Gruden, the Raiders mean a lot to him, right? I mean, he had the chance to come back to a million teams, and he chose the Raiders, who he'd already coached for. And Andy feels like he doesn't feel. He's going to end his career as the Chiefs head coach. And when it's all said and done, will he be remembered because of Mahomes more Chiefy than Eaglesy?
Yes.
Might be.
Absolutely.
So it's like this rivalry. They've beat him a couple times. Remember Thursday night game when the Raiders were 0-10? He beat an Alex Smith team. So they've had some good games over to the Derek Carr tenure. This game's big, man. It just is.
Andy is 14-7 against the spread off a bye. So what matters here is not the Chiefs covering the spread. It's who wins or loses. But I'll use it just to illustrate. So I took the early in the week. I took the Chiefs minus 6.5. If the Raiders win this game, I then have to start thinking very differently about them, I think, right? Like, I think they're a playoff team right now. But if they were to beat the Chiefs if you were to pick a situation that would be the most impressive thing they could do, you would pick beating Andy Reid off of a bye after they've already beaten the Chiefs. Because at times we've thought the Chiefs kind of look like they were just lollygagging this year. If they get beat on Sunday, it won't be because they were lollygagging, right? Like, they're going to be locked in for this game.
Well, I think Mahomes, his last 2 games before the bye, had like 9 touchdowns. He kind of went pedal to the metal, right?
Yeah, that's true.
They kind of woke up a little bit after the Raider game. You're right. Okay, the Raiders are playing a team this week. What is the toughest possible opponent in the league? You'd be like, well, who's the best team in the league coming off a bye, right?
So if you just played on the Chiefs.
Yeah. Now you could argue because they play the Chiefs so much, but like we saw last year, I was texting with someone. It feels like 5 years ago. Mahomes last year threw 4 touchdowns in a quarter. Remember that? The Raiders went up early, like 10-0. It was like, God. I remember texting with a dude on the Chiefs staff, a scout, and he's like, I'm a little nervous right now. I'm not gonna lie. And then boom, touchdown, and the game was kind of over. And then the following, remember later in the season, the Raiders have been playing well. They went to like London, beat the Bears. I think they were 6-4. And the Chiefs, their record, because Mahomes had got hurt, I think they were 7-3. And people were like, this is the biggest game the Raiders have had in like 4 or 5 years. And then the Chiefs destroyed them. Derek threw 2 picks. Remember a pick 6 early in the game? And it was like, this isn't the game. And then that's what I thought going into the first time. And I give them a lot of credit that the Raiders kind of kicked their ass in the second half. This is clearly the Chiefs are going to have, from a betting perspective, you would think the Chiefs are going to want to blow them out and run up the score, which is weird because these guys are heated rivals. The teams, the coaches are very, very close friends.
Yeah.
I mean, they go back like 30 years. I mean, talking very close friends. Like there's a group of him, Mooch, Gruden, like for Andy, that Green Bay crew and Holmgren are like his boys. Yeah. And a couple BYU, like Whittingham and a couple Utah guys. But like when I think Andy Reid, close friends in the NFL, Gruden's one of the initial names that comes to my mind. And that's where I think it gets. This is what being a coach, why you get paid all this money. I think you put that out of your mind. You just look, we're playing the Chiefs, not Andy Reid.
Yeah,
right?
I also think it might be that the Chiefs can't blow them out. It might be that the Raiders' offense is good enough to not be blown out in this game if they play their best game. Well, I'll put it this way: if they both play their best game, I don't think the Chiefs can blow them out.
If the Raiders play an A- game,
if
the Raiders can score 30.
If they both were to play their best game, the Chiefs are better. But Raiders could.
The Chiefs could still cut the reason to me that if they both played A's, I do think like the Chiefs could beat them 40-30, like and cover the spread. But you're right; it wouldn't look like 50-17.
Like
right?
That to me isn't that the question here?
Didn't Ruggs have the big touchdown in the first Chiefs game? I remember him flying right by a guy, and it's like you can practice all you want against your own guys, but speed is speed, right? I mean, it's just.
If I were to say just pick one thing, like if I gave you one answer to a question to help you understand how this game is going to look, what would it be? Like for me, it would be, does the Raiders' offense look good? Because if the Raiders' offense looks good, they can win this game.
Yes, I agree.
Period. And I think sometimes we're so used to them being kind of this roller coaster where they look great and then they kind of get some love and they get some credit and then but they came out that Browns game, they did what they were supposed to do. They came out the Broncos game, they did what they were supposed to do. Like, they're at home. The other thing is, it could be worse for them, right? Like, there are some things in their favor. The fact that this game is at home, which A means home, but B means not in Kansas City. I don't know what the weather in Kansas City is this week, but
can't be warm. It's cold here.
Yeah. So, it's to me. If you told me at the beginning of the year this was a possibility, I would have been stunned, right? Like, they'd be set up to beat the Chiefs twice. I don't think they're going to win, but that's just because I'm making a prediction. It wouldn't shock me if they actually have a shot in this game.
I think the Raiders have a shot, for sure.
They might be
a much better shot than I ever would have envisioned at the beginning of the year. I do when you factor in the Chiefs are the best team in the league, and when they try, they kick ass. They are coming in really motivated. Now, the Raiders are still motivated just from the fact that all these other teams, like the Dolphins keep winning, the Browns keep winning, the Colts are winning, the Tennessee, they all have the same record. And then you start looking like the Ravens are kind of coming back to earth. Like, we actually have something to play for, right? Getting that 5th seed means we draw the Titans, and we probably beat them. Or the Colts. We get to play them, so we'll know if we match up well against them. The Raiders do have a lot to play for.
Yeah,
obviously.
It's not like they haven't
level team does.
It's not like they haven't been tested. Their opponent, their strength of schedule wins. The strength of victory is 530. I think
that Saints game is aged pretty well, right?
It's aged really well. I think it's the best in the AFC. Might be the best.
I actually think that Tampa game
it might be the best in the league.
Guy, that Tampa game, I know the final score. They did hang for 3 quarters, and Gruden pushed out on the field goal. Not going for it, and then it turned into like 50-20 or whatever. But it was a 7-point game. If he had instead he kicks a field goal to make it a 4-point game, remember that was the end of early in the 4th quarter. It just boom, they did it. Brady scores, Derek throws the pick, they score again. It snowballed fast. But like one thing they've shown when their offense is on, they can hang with the big boys because even the diehardest Raider fan. Paul Gunther would tell you our defense can be a problem, but when we can go blow for blow, like we can throw haymakers now, like Mike Tyson, like that Bronco game. As you were right, like you hammered the over, you like bet the over, and then I was like, God, he's right, so I put some money on it. You had a Waller drop, you had an Aguilar drop, like they easily could have scored 38, 40 points in that, right? And then Drew Lock is now the new Blake Bortles, king of the meaningless fourth quarter points, it would have been that game should have been 40 to like 21, and it'd be like an easy cover, right? Instead, they dropped a couple balls. The Waller drop. I actually starting to talk myself into the Raiders a little bit.
Well, you can't undo on my bookie, John. That's the problem. Maybe you should play both sides on that one. So
I'll do the over in this game. You like the over indoors?
I do like the over. Yeah. What? Well, I haven't seen the number. What is it? 63.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's pretty high.
Do you have it? Should we get that? It's 56.5.
I got it at 57.
Oh, I'm at my bookie. Let me refresh.
Yep.
Did it go up here? Bum, 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 bum.
That's maybe
I got 56.5. Are you signed in?
Yeah.
Does Middlecoff get different numbers than me?
Maybe they East Bay and San Francisco. 57's a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell us we're
Can't
crazy.
wait.